we might start until you're ready.
So I'm going to start now. So, esteemed council members, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I stand before you as the deeply concerned chairman of the UK RAAC campaign group, representing not just my daughter but many others who are anxiously watching the council's decisions regarding RAAC mitigation. The report presented to you specifically in section 3.12 mentions that 59 people responded to your inquiries, with approximately 63% of them being homeowners. This statistic alone highlights the level of concern amongst those of us who own homes. Despite this concern, it seems that many of us were unaware that the council was planning to offer only the current market value for our properties. The reactions on social media and a rapid gathering of over 400 signatures on a Scottish Parliament petition since the report's publication indicate a profound disconnect between the council's intentions and the public's understanding. In section 3.14, the report mentions the importance of considering the social impact on stakeholders and the wider community. However, I must ask, what study has been conducted to understand the potential financial ruin that many of us could face? Recent property purchases, large existing mortgages, and a lack of evaluation for support or financial assistance. These are pressing issues that remain unaddressed. Section 3.17 of the report acknowledges the severe negative impact of our well-being if RAAC panels remain in our homes. It also mentions the difficulties we will face in selling, insuring or mortgaging our properties. But let me ask you this, what could be more devastating than the financial crisis that now looms over us? The council's current approach is not just failing to relieve our stress, it's exacerbating it. In section 3.22, the report recognises the significant challenges we face in funding necessary repairs and other associated costs. This could have been mitigated through options like loans, shared equity schemes or grants. Yet the council hasn't even considered these possibilities. Instead, it feels as though we are being left to fend for ourselves, creating an us versus them scenario that unfairly penalises homeowners. The indifference towards homeowners is further highlighted in section 3.24, where it is mentioned that some areas within the site may allow owners to pursue their own solutions. But what about the rest of us? Are we supposed to accept that we've been abandoned? And even then, how will they do that without the previously indicated options for support? Section 3.25 suggests that the council can only offer market value for our properties, significantly less than what they were worth before the presence of RAAC was identified. This does not account for those of us with large mortgages or those who are particularly vulnerable, such as the elderly or those in palliative care. I have raised these concerns in private meetings with council officers, yet I'm shocked at how little consideration has been given. Instead, we are faced with the threat of health and safety legislation being used against us if we refuse to sell our homes at these devalued prices. I don't think everybody even understands that yet. Section 3.40 mentions a potential CPO-style process for property acquisition, and section 3.41 acknowledges that market valuations would likely result in negative equity for homeowners. The council admits there is no national support scheme for homeowners in these situations. This only further illustrates the disconnect between the council and the very people you are supposed to serve. Many of these homes were built by the council, sold under the right to buy scheme, and then resold without any clear disclosure of the RAAC issues. We trusted the council then, now it feels like that trust has been betrayed. Section 4.7 and 4.8 discuss the need for the council to borrow money and reallocate funds for a solution. Yet there is no consideration for doing the same to support homeowners who will be left in financial ruin. This despite the fact that any new build project could eventually compensate the council for its initial capital outlay. In section 5.14, the report refers to the council's duty to secure best value under Local Government in Scotland Act 2003. But what about the guidance from Scottish ministers? Have they been consulted on what constitutes best value in the context of these voluntary agreements? A letter from the Housing Minister, Paul McLennan, to my daughter Hannah indicated that the councils have a range of powers under Section 71 of the Housing Scotland Act 2003 to support homeowners. Why has this not been clarified? Why has there been no response to these questions? I did ask Stephen Booth in a private meeting about which law supersedes in decisions such as this, will it be the Local Government in Scotland Act 2003 or Section 71 of the Housing Scotland Act 2003? Councillors need to make that decision today. And the reason I mentioned there's a subsection that says that you must get your decisions approved by the ministers. So let's do that. Let's see what they say about that, whether there's any additional funding. Finally, Section 4.1 suggests an initial capital outlay of 4 million, including compensation to homeowners. But how can this possibly be sufficient when the true cost of re-evaluation would be over 20 million? Who's come up with these figures? I'm hoping it's not Stephen Biff just simply on a calculator, and there have been a large body of people actually working out what these costings amount to, because that doesn't make sense. With 4 million, you're looking at giving homeowners 10 to 20,000 pounds for properties worth up to 130, well, between 130 to 150 in most cases. This is way out of line with reality. Offering figures between 10,000 to 20,000 for homes that were worth over 130,000 is not just unfair, it's an insult to democracy and the principles of fairness. It seems the council delays have only led to further reductions in our property valuations, compounding our distress. Look how long it's taken to get this report on the table. The report even outlines the laws that could be used to wrench properties from families who are already distressed, a scare tactic that reveals the lengths to which some council officers are willing to go to keep the council profitable, not balanced. Rather than balanced, it is no wonder that homeowners were not mentioned in the council's risk appetite statement when considering outcomes for a prosperous economy, people and place. We have elected members in this room who have the power to offer a fairer solution, one that goes beyond the recommendations in this report, one that can disable the bureaucratic indifference that we're seeing in this current report. I implore you to remember your commitments under Section 71 of the Housing Scotland Act 2003 and offer a solution that is fairer and less financially crippling to the people you serve. I'd also query any value in those surveys that were undertaken when there was no indication within the surveys themselves that you were intending to provide valuations that were of current market value. So if it did come to a CPO, I'm wondering whether that could be imposed as an argument. And there's councils that support us, I know, out here, and I put that to you to put that into discussion, to really undertake an understanding of where this council stands. Because I can tell from the conversations I've had with people, we will not be leaving our homes if you're offering us 20 to 30,000 pounds. The council will at that point have to decide what action they take and whether they want to go down a CPO or offer fairer voluntary agreements. I'll end that there.